Back on Last Day Radio Network, we started the show talking a bit about the Eagles. Going to cut into some Sixers talk. I'm going to kick this one over to Jonesy. As I said, I'm not the local aficionado that I need to be. I did see Ben Simmons with a triple-double the other night, and Embiid had 31 points. Mm-hmm. And similar to watching Carson Wentz carve up the Skins, I was like, if your point guard is 6'10", and he has triple-double capacity, and you have a 7-foot center that can score from anywhere on the floor and put up 30 anytime he wants, you have a team that's going to be very competitive for years to come. What are your thoughts?
Theoretically, they're young, and
very
they're very young, and NBA is a grown man's game.
Yeah, Lonzo Ball found that out. I
don't care how much talent you have, unless you're 7 feet tall, you're not really going to be that effective as a 19-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how great was Kobe Bryant?
Right.
Do you remember Kobe Bryant his first year or two in the league?
Number 8.
No, yeah. Airballing threes in the playoffs, missing all sorts of shots.
Right.
You got to learn the game and you got to develop your body. It's no getting around that. Now, Embiid, a healthy Embiid is the linchpin to making the whole thing work. He's a game-changing big man. Like, he changes everything, both ends of the court.
He has a chance to be one of the best.
He's ever. a legit 7'2", athletic, when he's actually in shape, which you could see him getting back into shape over the course of this season. His first game on the
he's
court,
not lazy. I mean, he's always in Operation Shutdown.
Not that he's lazy,
hurt.
but if you watch the first couple games of this season, the people were criticizing him, he's out on the perimeter and he's shooting threes. But if you watch those games, you could tell he was actually just getting himself back into game condition.
Right.
What it made me think about was Shaq at the end of that first three-peat in L.A., when he was starting to get bigger and everybody's talking about Kobe's going without him. But if you watch the game, Shaq was out of shape.
Right.
So when they're ready to start the offense, Shaq is just getting to the top of the key because he's behind everybody. The same thing was happening to Embiid, but Embiid has a jump shot, so he was going to shoot threes. Shaq didn't have a jump shot, so he was just complaining about not being a part of the offense and Kobe gunning. But the thing is, your big man has to be able to change in.
Right.
Embiid, when healthy and in shape, which you see coming, is able to do that and affect both ends of the floor.
Absolutely.
Ben Simmons is a supreme talent, but there's a couple things he's going to have to learn. Like, he absolutely has to learn how to take the jump shot. If you watch his stroke doesn't look bad, but he does need to work on the touch. And he also needs to, and I'm not saying this is bad, but understanding how to control the pace of a 48-minute game at the point guard.
Yeah, I mean, you're being a little hard. He's only been in the league for 4 games now.
I just said there are things he has to learn.
Oh, okay.
You're playing him at point guard.
Right.
He's a special talent, but these are things you have to remember about having kids play on your team. There are these things you have to learn.
Now, speaking of kids, that's a great point. That's why, we kicked it over to you, Jonesy. Jonesy is the resident specialist as far as breaking down stats. I mean, I'm more focused on the sophomoric hijinks of making fun of people and saying offensive and inflammatory things to drive up the ratings. If you really want to hear the actual hardcore sports stuff, that's why I keep Jonesy around. That's why he's been co-hosting the show since its inception. 2 things. First of all, the foot of Embiid worries me.
Big men with bone problems always
He's
worry
a
me.
young guy, but then your man Fultz in the shoulder, that worries me too, because if you're getting a cortisone injection in your shoulder and you're 19 and your shoulder's already bad, you can barely lift your arm above your head and you're 19. I mean, we're all pushing 40. My man, shout out DJ Kam, big 50th birthday bash just a couple of weeks ago. But we're not spring chickens up in here. We're all grown behind men up in here. Of course, we're going to have bad ankles and bad knees and bad shoulders. If you have a bad shoulder at 19, isn't that going to be a chronic issue?
No. From what I've heard, he had some inflammation in the shoulder, no real structural damage, and just made it difficult to raise his arm. When I was 20 years old, I had the exact same injury in my right shoulder. I could not raise it above shoulder level, couldn't raise my arm. If I tried to reach up, I was going to be screaming in pain. But there was no structural damage. It was an inflammation. I went to the sports therapist. They They gave me some anti-inflammatories. I was good in 2-3 weeks. But the real issue that made that better and not a chronic issue was actually getting in shape, developing my body more, which if you look at Markel Fultz, you can tell he needs to do anyway. So that's something I think as he develops won't be much of an issue, assuming as reported there is no structural issue in his shoulder.
So we're going to keep trusting the process and kind of moving along. DJ Kam, thank you for coming in, showing us love, man. You've done so much in the hip-hop industry. Just kind of wanted to kick it over to you. We made fun of you about the Giants being really, really bad. But on a serious tip, tell us about some of the artists that you're working with. Obviously, we're a part of the Free Agent Radio team.
Right.
It's always good to be with the Free Agent Radio family. What are some of the projects that you are working on to this audience? Where can we find you? Like, what's going on? What are the heavy hitter DJs doing? Who are some of the artists that you've worked with locally and will be working with, up in New York City and beyond?
That was a lot. First and foremost, freeagentradio.com is the station. I'm on Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. As far as artists, there's this guy out of Brooklyn, Nathaniel, that I had at my birthday party, R&B artist. Has a song called Stick Up Kid. Great song. Kind of been working with him, not in terms of production or anything, but just really helping him in his career. Been very supportive of all his music. The last, probably the last 2 years, he's had about 4 or 5 songs out, and we've steadily been on him, which allowed him to offer his service to come to do, my 50th birthday party, which I thought was dope. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, Pat streamed it. It was dope.
Huh? Oh, yeah.
Pat streamed a lot of it.
Okay, all right.
So we saw a lot of it.
Some of that night was a blur. Not gonna lie.
That's a good night, then.
Right.
That's why we got the video and the audio, so I can go back and kind of relive it a little bit. And as far as here in Philly, I'm on the radio in Philly, WRB 100.3 FM. I'm on Saturday nights from 9 to midnight, and I also do these little things called mini mixes that air earlier in the day from 12 noon, 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, 12 noon, 2 p.m., 4 p.m., and 6 p.m. They're the first 10 minutes of every hour. It's a 10-minute mix, and then I'm back on at 9 o'clock from 9 to midnight. So I kind of, in a weird way, taking over Saturdays in Philadelphia again for my second term.
No doubt. Tell us about, because, I think this is a different audience. When you look at the demographic, they may not know who the heavy hitter DJs are and kind of the inception of that crew, who's affiliated with you.
Right.
Kind of walk us through, that story, how you got involved in that team and what y'all have done in the industry.
Okay. The heavy hitter DJs was a crew started, God, I'm horrible with numbers, don't quote me, but I would say probably in 99, maybe 99, late 98, by DJ Enough, who used to DJ for Biggie. Okay. Anyone that saw the Biggie movie
DJ Enough.
saw Enough. Enough's the guy who started it, along with DJ Threat, R.I.P. DJ Threat, and DJ Camilo. They started the crew. It was technically a New York City-based crew, all Spanish, Latino cats, blah, blah, blah. I was actually the first black guy to be so you're like in the crew. You're
like the Jackie Robinson of DJs.
Excellent.
That's
yes.
what's up.
That's dope.
That's
I like that. Yeah. And also I was the first cat to join the crew that was in the market outside of New York City, even though I'm originally from Brooklyn, but in terms of my radio career, it was based in Philadelphia. So I was the first DJ to get brought on that was not New York based in terms of his career, which allowed us to take the concept and expand. We got guys from different cities, Atlanta, Boston, L.A., Phoenix, Denver, just all over, Miami. The crew's been in existence for about, I think if I'm correct, 16, 17 years. I got in after the second year and just been running with them. We do a yearly retreat. This one got canceled this year. We was going to be in Puerto Rico.
Nice.
And of course, with everything that happened,
Right.
in Puerto Rico, we're not doing it this year. But hopefully, when everything gets back into order, we want to go back there. We still want to go there and support. In terms of instead of having our trip be somewhere
Trump
else.
saying that they on their own, man.
That's horrible.
We got to
Horrible.
pray for Puerto Rico for real, man.
That's a whole nother thing with the Trump mess. But man, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. But we do a retreat every year where we invite out, like I said, like Nathaniel, different local artists that we support across the board, and have some record companies come out, things like that, and that gives us a time to all kind of meet up once a year and build. There's actually, to date, if I'm correct, I think it's 54 heavy hitters global. I know we also have heavy hitters outside of the United States as well.
Okay.
And Japan, London, there's somewhere else I'm leaving out. Dominican Republic, that's islands, but Canada, yeah. So, and when we started out, I think we started out, when I came on board, let's say that. When I came on board, it was only 11 guys.
Wow.
When I got in.
Definitely one of the pioneers in the game. I've always been interested in the way that we produce this show. I mean, I do a lot of sampling myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've always kind of thought of myself as a crate digger.
Okay.
Curious talking to, a DJ that's really been around the block. Tell us about how you started getting into that industry. Like, were you 7 and interested in turntables? Did you gravitate towards those things as a little kid, or did you become this in high school and college? Like, usually people I know that are in music, like they were 6, 7, and they were messing with their parents' collection and getting a whooping because they were in the records. I know that's how I was when I was 6, 7. Just curious of your experience.
Similar to that, being in the 45s. Like I said, I'm 50, so go back a little further.
45s, wow.
To really start it off, to keep it 100, I was the 6th member of the Jackson 5. Let's be clear. Just going to keep it what it is. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was a member of that group. All right. Randy, I didn't even know about Randy. I was Randy before Randy. So my love of music really came through the love of the Jackson 5. Then as I got older, my cousin Tyree came to live with us in New York, and he DJ'd. So I got to see this whole different thing where you were always taught to not touch the record. You don't touch the record, you mess it up. He's touching the record. I want to do that. Then I'm seeing what he's doing. I'm intrigued. I'm like, yo, he's, without me using that word at the time, because I'm like 10 or 11 years old, he's manipulating the music. He's kind of controlling it. When I played it, I just played it. And of course, didn't touch the record. You know what I'm saying? That was voodoo. So just following his footsteps, endless getting beat up by him because I would touch his stuff, didn't know what I was doing. He'd go do a party. I tear the stuff up, said I didn't touch it. We're fighting. Then it just got to the point, he told me this years later, the only reason he taught me how to work the equipment was so I wouldn't tear it up. It wasn't about teaching me. He knew I wasn't going to stop touching the equipment. So he said, let me just teach him how to utilize the stuff so he doesn't tear it up. It wasn't about teaching me how to do it.
Right. The self-preservation. Like, he didn't want you to ruin
it was all about him. It had nothing to do with me. He
had to protect his investment.
Yes.
And based on the chronological, where you were in New York during that revolution, really the hip-hop revolution. Really when it was moving to clap your hands to the beat now, like you really saw that revolution to the bridges over and the whole shebang to what hip hop has become now with the young millennials mumbling. I can't understand what they're saying. Like you've seen it end to end. Like as we kind of close this segment, we'll talk a little bit more about it. What has it been like to watch that in the end? I think Jonesy, Pat, I've said all the time, I became a hip hop head, Power 99 when I lived in Trenton. I heard Ain't No Half Steppin'.
Okay.
It was a rap.
Dope.
I heard Steady B, Hilltop Hustlers, EST, 3 Times Dope. It was a rap.
Nice.
Like, when did you what have you seen like that end to end? Because the game has changed so much over the years.
I come in with Gypsy Cab mixtapes. Like I said before, there was no hip hop when I started or got involved.
Right.
None. So we're talking like late 78, 79. So Rapper's Delight and all that comes out. But before that came out, I was already familiar with hip hop through the tapes. Cold Crush, Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, who else? Fantastic Romantic, Treacherous 3, Funky 4+1.
4+1. Yeah.
So really was the tapes that got you, in tune with the music. Then it got put on vinyl. Then that was a mind-blowing thing. Like, wow, it's on record. That's crazy. Then from there, because when I learned how to DJ, I was learning how to play breakbeats. Going back to what you said, digging in the crates, it was all about playing breakbeats. It was no original rap records to play. Okay. So I like to say I'm a part of the second phase of hip-hop in a sense, because the first party I ever did when I made money was 1981. Made $80. Did my girlfriend's 13th birthday party at the time. And by this time, I just moved to South Jersey. So I don't count my first year and a half, really, because I was learning. But the day that someone paid me for that service, that's when it started. So November 81 is when I started. And like I said before, rap wasn't even on record for 2 years. Very brand new. And I've been with it ever since. So, I hate to say it, but I have to say it. When it comes to the game, I'm very opinionated because I have a true love for it in a way that a lot of people can't even begin to understand, because I've watched the growth of it. I watched it. We grew together. You understand what I'm saying? In a sense, like I can almost say hip hop's in a weird way my younger brother, if that makes any sense, because it's really only 47 years. I'm 50, but just in terms of
see it grow up,
you've seen it.
Watch it. Yep.
Those opinions are going to come in handy in the fourth segment, because we're going to break down some of the new albums that are out. We're going to cut to another break. We'll be back with more DJ Kam. We're going to bring my man in Toot. That's going to tell some stories as well. Back on the Lance J Radio Network after these messages.